I think football is like a drug. I'm a lucky man, and I never thought I should be a professional on this level where I've been. England is England, and I thought I cannot say no to that. I will only have that chance once in my life. Help each other to play together. You are all stars, but don't act like divas and stars. That's a secret.
Sven-Goran Eriksson was England's first non-English manager. In equal measure, he was both a darling and a target of the English tabloid press. As famous for his personal life, always, as he was for his undoubted coaching quality. Appointed on Halloween in the year 2000, the decision was an FA horror show, according to many of the red-top newspapers. The Daily Mail said England had sold the national game down the fjords to a nation of skiers and hammer throwers. But the FA said Sven was one of the best coaches in world football, and he was their unanimous choice. Sven took charge of England's golden generation of players, but he couldn't deliver silverware, and he was eventually sacked after being famously tricked by the fake sheikh. It was a typically chaotic and controversial end to his biggest job in football. But until the end, the softly spoken Swede remained one of the most popular and hugely respected figures in world football. In the autumn of 2022, Sven invited Sky Sports News into his lakeside home in the pine forests of western Sweden to reflect on his career.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, good to see you. Very well.
Good to see you. Come on.
Thank you.
At the time, at the age of 74, he was still coaching, helping on the training field with local 3rd Division side Karlstad.
My dream was to be a professional football player in Italy, because many Swedish footballers played there as professional in Milan, in Roma and so on. But when I started to be a coach, no, I couldn't even dream about, not even think about to be England manager. No, not a chance.
Sven led a relatively low-key family life with his ex-wife Ann-Christine Pettersson and 2 children. After retiring as, in his own words, a distinctly average player, he was just 27. But it soon became clear he was an outstanding coach. His first manager's job was for Degerfors in his homeland, before he went on to Gothenburg, where Sven created history. They became the first Swedish team to win the UEFA Cup in 1982. The rest of Europe stood up and took notice. Eriksson took over at Benfica, winning consecutive league titles, before achieving his Italian football dream with Roma in 1984. He would go on to manage Fiorentina, Benfica again, and then Sampdoria, before almost moving to the Premier League in 1997. That was with Blackburn Rovers. He agreed on a move to Ewood Park, but then Eriksson received an offer to manage Lazio, and he changed his mind. Major success followed. Lazio won the European Cup Winners' Cup, and then in 2000, the Serie A title for only the 2nd time in the club's history. Then came the opportunity with England.
Didi Hamann! Wembley's last game belongs to Germany.
Kevin, you've been in a meeting for a long time after that match with some high-ranking FA officials. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, what I've done, I've first of all told the players that, this is my last game.
When Keegan resigned, the FA turned to Sven, but he was still in a job in Rome.
But when will that decision be made?
Mr. Eriksson, Sky Sports Television, do you think you would have resigned if you were not England coach-elect, and what are your feelings right now?
Yes, I think so. I don't like what I did, but I think it's better for the club.
I was with Lazio, and I was, everything was gold there, everything was beautiful. But England is England, and I thought I cannot say no to that. I will only have that chance once in my life. How I'm going to handle it? Well, if it's the most difficult job, I'm very happy, and then it will be my biggest challenge so far in my life. If we don't do results, of course, they will try to hang me, but even if I was an Englishman, they hang me. So that's...
On the pitch, with World Cup 2002 qualification hanging in the balance, Eriksson's England turned things around with a famous victory in Munich.
He's a lovely geezer, but don't forget that he's from Sweden.
And then, Beckham's brilliance at Old Trafford sent England to Japan and South Korea.
Yes! Yes for England! David Beckham has done it big time!
But all the talk in the build-up to the World Cup focused on the England captain's metatarsal.
Thinking about it during the nights, sleepless, because it's going to heal or not.
Redemption for Beckham and his sending off in 1998 came with the penalty that beat Argentina in the group stages. England made it to the quarter-finals, but they lost 2-1 to the eventual winners, Brazil. Before Euro 2004, Sven made Wayne Rooney England's youngest ever debutant. He was 17 years and 111 days old. It really paid off in the tournament. Rooney's goals sent England all the way to the last 8. This time, Portugal and penalties would be their downfall. But off-the-field controversies followed Eriksson too. His long-term on-off relationship with lawyer Nancy Dell'Olio made the couple prime targets for the paparazzi. His relationships with Ulrika Jonsson and then Faria Alam were like celebrity gold dust for the English press. Alam was an FA employee.
The mess and the soap opera is very regrettable. I don't want to throw the towel in just because of the press.
The pressure intensified when England lost to Northern Ireland in September 2005. Off the back of that came the fake shake sting by the News of the World, where Eriksson was recorded saying he would leave to join Aston Villa after the World Cup. Days later, the FA announced that Sven would leave his role after the tournament in Germany. He went on to sue the News of the World, winning substantial damages, but he'd lost his dream job.
It was a fake shake, and they did everything to try to set me down. I told the people in FA, you believe in them or you believe in me? I don't know what they believed. They took the chance to sack me.
Sven had one more tournament with England to try to prove himself before the axe fell. Rooney's lack of fitness disrupted preparations for the World Cup in Germany, and once in Baden-Baden, Sven's decision to allow the players' families to stay nearby caused a media frenzy. Cameras followed them wherever they went. England went out in the quarter-finals against Portugal. Rooney's red mist meant a red card, and the team lost, courtesy of penalties again and a winking Ronaldo. Sven's last act as England manager was to beg the media for understanding, not for himself, but for Rooney.
You, much more than me, for the next years, need Wayne Rooney. So pay attention, please. He is the golden boy of English football. Don't kill him. I beg you.
Thanks, Sven. Thanks very much.
I hope it will be quite more quiet from tomorrow.
Probably will.
Thank you.
A mental coach for penalties. That was a big mistake. That's the biggest mistake I did, I think. Many players in the team 2006 who has been around for a long time. So I thought they will handle this, they will handle more or less everything. And at the end, we were not especially good at penalties.
Exactly a year later, he took over at Manchester City and led them to 9th in the Premier League. But an 8-1 defeat against Middlesbrough on the final day of the season proved to be his last in charge. A short foray back in international management followed with Mexico, before a shock return to England as director of football at Notts County. It was 2009.
Sorry. It starts very well. It's very good.
It seemed bizarre, and it proved to be a costly sham. For the second time in 3 years, Sven had been duped. Backed by the Middle Eastern Munto Finance Consortium, Eriksson was told he had free rein to take the world's oldest league club all the way from League Two to the very top of the English game.
They said, Sven, 5 years. We give you 5 years. And you can do whatever you want to do with the club and take us to Premier League. And we have the money to buy players.
In came stellar names like Sol Campbell and Kasper Schmeichel, ready to play in League Two. Sven revealed years later he'd also agreed with Roberto Mancini for him to become the manager at Meadow Lane. But before that could happen, within 6 months, the whole business began to unravel.
I checked it with the league, I checked it with the chairman of Premier League, and all said, go ahead, this is real story. And it wasn't.
The promised investment wasn't forthcoming, and with debts of £7 million, the club was on the verge of collapse. Eriksson memorably waived the multi-million-pound payoff that he was due to help not survive, and he walked away. After a stint with the Ivory Coast, he spent a year in charge of Leicester City, before spells in China and with the Philippines national team. After over 1,200 matches as a manager, Eriksson decided to spend more time back in his hometown of Sunne, where he continued to help out with local third division side Karlstad until ill health forced him to take a step back at the start of 2023. Eriksson told the world of his cancer diagnosis with characteristic humility and stoicism. There was to be one final hurrah. Sven was a boyhood Liverpool supporter and he'd dreamed of one day managing the club. He got that wish in a special Legends match at Anfield.
I'm lucky and I've seen a lot of countries and a lot of good memories, some bad memories as well. But I did some mistakes, of course. Notts County was one of them. But I'm not complaining.